Let's look at Intel. You guys want to look at Intel? So Intel is an old favorite. 2158. Wow. There's a couple buttons. I have all the SEC filings. That is not the case with this new garbage SEC update. Do you guys hate this update? SEC.gov's new update? Oh, it's so bad. It's a disaster. It's gonna crush my peoples. They really want to hold us back. They don't want us to win. They don't want us to have SEC filings just like that. Okay, so Intel had a down quarter. It used to be that Intel is basically what it's kind of like whatever the economy's doing. And that's obviously not the case. I looked at Intel a few years ago and you could see like I tried to plan for some kind of recovery. Like let's say Intel had a recovery. They've been trying to have a recovery for years. It's interesting, they were $38 billion in revenue. It's not like Intel has been a disaster, right? It went from $38 billion in revenue 20 years ago to 70, 80 billion in revenue a few years ago. And now we're gonna fill this out a little bit and see, it looks like they're gonna be doing back to 50 billion in revenue. That's kind of what I had expected. So the question is, can they get their act together? And this obviously this last quarter was kind of a sign that maybe not, but let's take a look. Margins for Intel used to be so good. I don't know if I'm just looking at GAAP, non-GAAP, it's so crazy. Margins used to be like 60, 70%. See back in the day here, sorry. Back in the day, you can see gross margin 60, 65. It's always in the 60s way back when, even before 2005, when I was looking at it. Sort of changed a lot. Now, gross margins are in their 30s, but I don't know if maybe the business mix has changed as well, so I don't follow Intel that closely. It's like a biotech company. I think they're profitable though. I just think this is GAAP. Wow, they have so many employees. They're such a cruddy company. Do they have double like the employees of NVIDIA? I think they do. Unbelievable. Man. They need an outsider to come run Intel. Maybe somebody from NVIDIA. Nobody would take the job. Even the junior people at NVIDIA make more than the Intel CEO. Sad day, man. Used to be an amazing American company. Now, NVIDIA is an amazing American company. So NVIDIA, everybody seems to think NVIDIA is like Taiwanese or something. No. Even Donald Trump thinks that they're like, they make all the good chips out in Taiwan. I don't know why. They can't make them in America. And it's like, well, NVIDIA makes the chips. I mean, they design them. So even though they don't actually make them. Yeah, but Shkreli, we gotta make them here. Okay, Mr. Trump. Yes, sir, Mr. Trump. Yeah, it's hard to be the president because you don't know much about anything, right? Like, how do you can't be an expert in everything. Many people are saying we have the best chips. Like the whole Bitcoin thing as well. They're calling it Bitcoin. It's a coin, but it's not like a coin you put in your pocket. It's a different kind of coin. Like Raspberry Pi went public? Wow. So Intel's not really making much cash flow. I thought they would have a big, wow. Bro, Intel's going bankrupt. Bruh, I can't believe what I'm seeing. This is a prank? You got $2 billion in annualized cash flow. That's 2 years in a row. I don't know how Q4 looks though. So it's 50 times earnings. That's after this plunge. But with the CapEx replacement theory, you're talking about huge negative cash flow, free cash flow. Man, even Altera, look at that. Look at the ASIC performance. Altera used to be a great company. There's got to be a way out. There's got to be a way out of this.
Oh my God!
It's the only way out, man.
Today, I'm announcing a $100 billion bailout of Intel.
Inner segment eliminations. You know, sometimes you got to buy stocks when they look the worst. That's what a value investor does. When nobody else will touch it, you say, you know what? I'm in. That's my 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗊𝗍. I'm in. I'm all in. I guess they must have given guidance or something. That's why the stock dropped so much. That quarter wasn't that bad. 12.5 to 13.5. Job losses is a good thing for them. They need to do some job losses. Could be a buy. Starting to feel it. No more divs, who cares? This could be all right. Sometimes you gotta buy the dog, the ugliest dog. Sometimes you buy the dog. I'm just saying. Dividends are never important. In modern finance, the dividend has been abstracted away. You look at Berkshire Hathaway, doesn't pay dividends. So many other companies, it just doesn't make a difference. You could have a synthetic dividend if you wanted. You can create your own dividend. It's all irrelevant. And the dividend is not positive from a taxation perspective anyway. Wow, okay, so gross margin of 35% is maybe propped up company? What are you talking about? Propped up by whom? So it wasn't propped up yesterday. Shareholders wish it was propped up. Which part is the propped up? Look at the crazy mark. These are real marks, by the way. Like a lot of companies, we're gonna give you the option to exclude them because they're pretty distracting. But these are all real trades from live from the NASDAQ. Yeah, I can't believe Bitcoin's down so much, man. I knew it was gonna go down, but I've shaken out on my short. Okay, so we caught up on our quarterlies for Intel. Let's now put our thinking caps on. That's the easy part. The hard part starts now. The hard part is, and this is where it helps to sort of have an understanding of the business, which I gotta admit to you, I am not a microchip expert. I'm not a CPU guy. And it's been my life studying processors. I spent my life studying medicine, software. So it's a little tricky for me. I'll do my best. I have looked at Intel for 25 years. All right, so for Intel, numbers can't tell you everything. In fact, oftentimes numbers can't tell you anything. Past performance doesn't predict future anything. If you look at the last 20 years of Intel, right? I wonder if we want data on PC shipments or something. They've definitely lost market share to AMD, but notice they still have a lot more revenue than, well, maybe not a ton more revenue than NVIDIA. Let's see. My NVIDIA model appears to have disappeared. That's not good. I don't think like earnings misses matter that much. The whole like Wall Street game is kind of stupid. What matters is what is the long-term cash flow of this company. That's what matters. And when a company misses earnings big, there'll be this like tumult, but you have to see through that tumult. That happened with Meta. I'm sure some of you guys, old timers, remember when Meta had that big dump and I told everyone to buy it. If you remember that was an example of that. So like these things do happen where Wall Street and whatever the companies just get out of lockstep. I didn't think it was more expensive for FINRA. I thought it was the same price. It should be $40 a month regardless. I think Godel right now is $40 a month. Here's the thing about the Godel that's really interesting. I hope you guys, if you're following me and you want to support me, subscribe to Godel. What's funny about Godel is that it started at 20 a month. Now it's 40 a month, and I'm certain very soon it'll be 50. But when you sign up for Godel, you keep your lifetime membership fee. So whatever you sign up at, it stays that way forever. So basically that's the way it works. And you can sell your account. So if you have a $20 a month locked in account, you could sell it. Yeah, it's hard to look up the news and stuff like that without news, charts, quotes, all that stuff. I think it should be for professionals. It's not really meant for retail. I mean, if you're a millionaire or something, it might make more sense. But we're trying to compete with Bloomberg, which is $2,000 a month. So our price will over time approach Bloomberg's price. and it'll probably be more like usage based. So Bloomberg is $2,500 a month regardless of how much you use it, whereas Godel is going to be a little bit more flexible. So like you could, if you don't use Godel much, your bill could be like $200 a month or something like that. If you don't turn it on at all, it should be zero in my opinion. Right now, if you go to the website, terminal.godelnum.com or godelnum.com, we're gonna change the URL at some point. You could try it. Yeah, you don't have to pay for it. The only thing, if you pay for it, you can get a couple new features, like you can chat. There's a couple things disabled if you don't pay for it, but you can get a lot of the benefit for free. I don't know if it's safe to invest in Chinese companies listed on the New York Stock Exchange. I would assume so, but I don't know for sure. When you're an entrepreneur, money kind of comes in and out. You know, you sell a company, you're flush with cash, you're running your company. The opposite happens. A lot of entrepreneurs I know don't have much cash. I have a friend who's actually an early watcher of the stream. He's worth many billions of dollars, and he doesn't have more than 25, 30 million on hand. So it's just part of the grind, but we love it. This man's on food stamps. That brother's starving. That's one of my favorite memes. Anyway, I hope he's watching. If you're watching, homie, I love you, bro. First he was the little homie. Now he's the big homie. All right, so we're trying to think about Intel, and I've been trying to like turn it over in my head for a while as to how to really think about this company, and it's something else. I actually do think it could make a big comeback, but unfortunately, that's kind of gonna depend on management more than it's gonna depend on anything else. Problem with NVIDIA and CUDA is that it's like very hard to compete. Yeah, it's probably a value trap. I mean, that's the other option, obviously, right? There are two options. It's a great comeback or it's a value trap. That's really it. I think AMD is basically a non-factor in all of this. I'm trying to think if like PC shipments would be worth tracking. There's a lot to think through. What are you, crazy? So first of all, I'm Martin Shkreli and you're not. Okay? First thing to keep in mind. So when I talk about thinking through something, I'm a think. There's this website. Who got a login? Oh, I could buy it, but bad gateway. Man. Oh, nice. I don't have to even. Oh, thank you. That's money. I should just do their non-gaming revenue and stuff like that. Like, I don't know which, like non-ASIC. I'm guessing ASIC is embedded and exclude gaming as well. This is like watching a master craftsman at work. Look at that. It overlaps somewhat well. Now let me show you another trick. Correlation coefficient between two arrays. .61 correlation coefficient. So it seems fairly like principal component analysis, like a good chunk of Intel's revenue is a function of PC shipments versus market share, both of which are not looking great. Because they don't have any like actual chips for like phones, right? So that's been a struggle for them. And the desktop and servers are kind of changing a bit. So the question is, will PCs come back, or will they kind of make a new product in other areas? They're obviously doing foundries, but I don't know that business well enough. Like, there's some really good semiconductor analysts out there that live, eat, and breathe this stuff. I don't like technical analysis. Yeah, I'm not sure foundries are the answer to Intel's problems. I agree with that. Yeah, I don't know much about lithography either. You want me to become a semiconductor expert? It's going to take me a decade. It's probably not a bad thing to learn, by the way. As I learn software, I want to learn more hardware too. So let's do what old school Martin would do. Okay? Let's do it like this. Here is the global PC market. You see? We have never had less, in the last 20 years, less than 240 million computers sold a year. Computers aren't going away. Dell, Hewlett, they're going to still make computers. PCs are not disappearing. So let's assume, and this is looks like a trough. Peaked back in 2021, peaked in 2011, and then like an annual decline until the bottom in 2018. So you can see like this, like very weirdly cyclical. I don't know what the cycles are based on. It doesn't look like economics, but no, in all seriousness, I think we're always going to have we're going to have PCs. So let's see. Intel's revenue for the average PC shipment. Divided by that, okay. So basically Intel clears, one of the ways to look at it is they've cleared between $150 to $250 for every PC sold. So they're clearing $200 on average. I think that's gonna never change, right? Like, so if you look at these bad years, even 2006, they made $3 billion. In the good years, they made $12 billion. And that's, again, it's a cyclical business. Is there something about the chip business that's changed where they can't do that anymore? Because if your cyclically adjusted earnings are $5 billion a year, I mean, it's not a cheap stock. And in these years, they were doing way more than that, $20 billion. But the worst earnings they had was $3 billion. I'm smelling it like it's kind of a buy. I don't think it's cooked. I really don't. Here's free cash flow. You want to see something crazy, you want to see a chart. 5 billion, 10 billion, 15 billion. Okay, bad year, 10 billion. 10 billion. Oh man, 20 billion. Negative. Yeah, so that's a little crazy. I think if they like skinny down and focus on PCs, like that business alone, I'm just trying to think what that's worth. Like nobody, for example, they have a monopoly in the notebook market. Like nobody makes chips for notebooks other than them, basically. Let's read the 10K. All right, we are an industry leader and a catalyst for technology innovation and products that revolutionize the way we live. We are committed to harnessing the breadth and scale of our reach to have a positive effect on business, society, and the planet. Okay, focus on the business one. ARM is the risk. I see. Thank you, Triode. Introduction to our business. We are committed to creating world-changing technology that improves the life. We must ensure AI technology advances responsibly. Man, you don't have to worry about responsibly. Worry about your share of the pie. I think they got to be like, we suck, all right? We're not enabling modern society. Playoffs! 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 This is like, you know, when the sports team gets beat up by the other sports team. NVIDIA is like, Jensen just put up 40 points. And this dude is like, I just got my ankles broken. Gotta act like you just got your ankles broken. He's acting like he's enabling the future of technology. Man, Jensen got a leather jacket. So here's all the latest Intel patents. They get a lot of patents. Some quantum stuff too, it looks like. Oh, these are applications. I want published patents. There's the published patents. Applications can still be useful. I'm sorry guys, I'm kind of sick. I actually love this encryption stuff. I might do some programming in that later. I was doing something late last night actually. You can learn a lot by reading these patents. It's no strange, it's no accident Einstein was a patent clerk, right? You can also see what they're not working on, right? And then there's other ways we're gonna look into this. But you got me in on this Intel thing. I'm excited. Okay, 2023 revenue was 54 billion, down 9 billion, or 14% from last year. CCG, which is what, Client Computing Group, revenue decreased 8%. So what I'm thinking is just value CCG. And I almost think like you separate CCG and Foundry. And if you broke up Intel, you might actually have a more valuable business. So CCG revenue decreased 8% due to lower notebook and desktop volume from lower demand across market segments, partially offset by increased volume in the second half of the year as customer inventory levels normalized compared to higher levels in the first half. Notebook ASPs, average selling prices, decreased due to a higher mix of small core products combined with a higher mix of older generation products. This was partially offset by higher desktop ASPs due to an increased mix of product sales to the commercial and gaming market segments. DCAI, that's data center AI revenue, decreased 20% due to low server volume resulting from a softening CPU data center market, partially offset by higher ASPs from a lower mix of hyperscale customer-related revenue and a higher mix of high core count products. So they're not participating at all, really, in the data center AI. Next revenue decreased 31% as customers tempered purchases to reduce inventories and adjust to a lower demand environment across product lines. We invested $16 billion in R&D, made capital investments of $26 billion. Okay, look. If you make $26 billion CapEx and you don't have a rebound in the next couple of years in Intel, I don't know. That sounds like a buy to me, man. You putting down $26 billion cash, buy some equipment. Love that equipment. That's gonna bear some fruit. Come on, think about that, man. 26 bill. Tell me they're not gonna make money on that 26 bill. That alone, that equipment alone is gonna be worth 100 bill. You think so? We're swimming in chips already? Problem is Apple uses Taiwan Semi too, right? So is Apple gonna use Intel? Intel Foundry? I don't know. I think a lot of these companies don't want the geographic concentration. I wouldn't want all my stuff made there, just by prudence alone. Non-GAAP gross margin was 43.6. Okay, I'll add that down. And how'd they get 40? I got 39. Oh, this is 2023. Got it. Yeah, of course you gotta analyze customers and suppliers, of course. They did a Secret Service job right there. Oh man, don't make fun of the Secret Service, they're good. They're good people, all right? Our 2023 results reflect the continued advancement of our transformational journey. You can say that again. We continued to prioritize investments critical to our IDM 2.0 transformation, achieved operational milestones, and executed disciplined expense management. Delivering fast desktop frequencies and enhanced desktop experience for enthusiasts. What is that? Intel 14th Gen. All I see is Intel's crashing CPU nightmare explained. Yeah, it looks like there's some voltage error. Glad I don't have this chip. Clock speeds don't matter these days. Clock speeds always matter, man. 'Cause when I program, I'm getting the clock. I'm in the register file, baby. Intel Turbo Boost Max Technology 3. Performance Core Max Turbo Frequency. When are we going to get more than 24 cores? What is this P core versus E core? Performance cores versus efficiency cores. With great customers such as the Pineapple, Topaz Labs, you've heard of them, Wondershare. It's like, where's OpenAI? We've submitted all 4 of our major project proposals in Arizona, New Mexico, Ohio, and Oregon, estimated to represent over $100 billion of U.S. manufacturing and research commitments over the next 5 years to the U.S. Department of Commerce's CHIPS. 4 nanometers is small. I know my chemistry. It doesn't get that much smaller than 4 nanometers. You know, we got this thing in chemistry called angstroms. And an angstrom is 0.1 nanometers, so it's 10 angstrom for 1 nanometer. And the distance between 2 carbon atoms, right? Carbon atom bond distance is 1.5 angstroms. Okay? So you're talking about carbon bond is 15 nanometers. Well, it's 1.54 angstroms. And what do we say? 1 angstrom is 0.1 nanometers. do it like that. So the distance of a carbon-carbon bond is around 0.15 nanometers. And so if we're at 4 nanometers, which we're not, we basically can't get smaller than the distance between carbon-carbon bond, I wouldn't think. I mean, we could just divide, right? 4 divided by 0.15, we're 26x away. But these, when they say it's 4 nanometer or 3 nanometer or whatever TSM, it's not actually 4 nanometer. And you have to remember 3-dimensional space is different from 2-dimensional space. So you have the volume expansion that you have to apply. Allometrically scale. So I don't think we're at 4 nanometer transistor size anyway. What is the actual MOSFET nanometer or transistor size? Right, MOSFET is metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. And so that's 20 nanometers. But it's not possible to shrink below 5 using silicon. However, you can get it to 1 with molybdenum and single-walled carbon nanotubes, which are not, I think, possible. The junction depth, 100 nanometers, gate oxide thickness, 3 nanometers. Human hair is 100,000 nanometers. Wow. DNA, that's probably the smallest you can get, right? DNA, 2.5 nanometers. So we still got a ways to go. We can shrink a little bit more, but we're definitely getting close to the end. I don't think it's any of them. Like, I think the whole 4 nanometer LARP is just like, it's honestly just a LARP. Backside power delivery. Yeah, I would imagine that the heat sinks and the power is the biggest part of it. Let's see. It's good to take time with stocks. I mean, this isn't easy stuff. I can't believe it's 430. You know, you have to chew on it. So we'll keep chewing on Intel, but I have spent a lot of time on it